Before starting this lesson, I'm going to ask you to do a bit of troubleshooting. Click on each of the highlighted boxes and 6 new tabs will open showing the contents of the SIP logs of the 3 user agents and 3 servers in the chart. Take a piece of paper and, like you see in the chart, map out the call flow represented in the call logs. Like in the chart, start with Bob at desk.sales.work, then trace things through. Now, it won't be long before an issue emerges. As soon as you've identified the issue, stop mapping the call flow, press play, and we'll discuss the scenario through together. The first message is a register request from Bob at his desk phone in the sales organization asking the work.com registrar to forward his inbound calls not direct to his phone, but to the sales organization's server. A moment later, Bob registers again, this time with the sales organization's registrar, asking for his calls to be forwarded to his desk phone. Then, 30 minutes later, knowing he's about to have a meeting over in the admin office, Bob unregisters his desk phone, note the expires equals 0, and instead asks the sales registrar to forward his calls to the admin organization's server. 5 minutes later, after having walked over to the admin office, he registers with the admin registrar, asking it to forward his calls to where? Oh my goodness, not to the admin office phone, but to the work.com server. Can you see where this is going? When someone calls Bob at work, the work location server does a lookup which resolves to the sales server, so proxies onto sales. In turn, the sales server lookup resolves to the admin server, so it proxies on there. But now, because of Bob's poorly executed registration, the admin server resolves not to the admin office phone, but back to work.com, taking the request back to the work.com server. Seeing an invite to Bob at work, it once again looks up and resolves to sales, and proxies the request downstream. Sales once again looks up and resolves to admin, and also proxies on downstream. Oh dear, the request is caught in a loop between the 3 servers. If SIP's not careful, it's possible for requests to loop infinitely, being passed from one server to another, and so on. In SIP terms, this is known as looping. And the solution? Well, in one of our earlier modules, we asked a question about the max forwards header and why it decremented, but decided to come back and answer it later. Well, it's later. The max forwards header is to help prevent looping. Here's how it works. Every new request has a max forwards header, the default value being 70. Between every hop, the max forwards counter is decremented from 70 to 69, from 69 to 68, and so on, decrementing at every hop. When looping takes place, eventually the max forwards decrements to 0, at which point the receiving server gets all excited, having detected the loop, and sends back a 482 loop detected response, which, like all responses, travels back over the same path as the request, all the way back to the caller. So, max forwards. The max forwards header is to prevent infinite looping. The max forwards counter decrements over every hop. When it reaches 0, the server sends back a 482 loop detected response, which travels back over the same request path to the caller. Now, large var lists in the log file are a symptom of looping. Finally, looping is usually caused by inconsistent or poorly planned registrations or DNS entries.